ERA. I don't know.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. We've been there from the start. Honda, official vehicle.
Shake, do we have a video guy up here? My monitor is clicking in and out.
Yeah, both of them.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. We've been there from the start. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Proud fan since 1977.
Welcome to Fenway Park on the final Sunday of the 2016 season, and what an atmosphere it has been here. David Ortiz was honored today by the organization, by his former teammates. They had all three World Series teams here. Fans from all over North America have come to see this final game, the final series of David Ortiz in his regular season career.
What a ceremony it was. His family was here, the great Red Sox players from past. I think the biggest ovation was when Carl Yastrzemski came out. This place just was torn apart. They were going crazy. They love the Red Sox, and I'll tell you what, they always do it right here. They brought them all out one by one. The excitement, the emotion, that's on the Red Sox side. On the Blue Jays side, everybody knows what is at stake for the Blue Jays. That was an emotional win last night, to hang on, to come back, to win the game without getting a base hit, stop that streak of winning games without hitting a home run. When they don't hit a home run, John Gibbons' team was ready. They were ready for that game yesterday. They got to be ready today, because it's all in their hands, and they win, and they get to host the game on Tuesday.
Baltimore and the Orioles have the same record at 88-73, the top spot in the wild card race. You can see the focus in the Blue Jays dugout. They know what they have to do, and they are up against David Price, their former teammate, in this final game of the regular season. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays lineup for John Gibbons. What a game last night. They won on just 4 hits. Top of the order, Devin Travis, Josh Donaldson, Edwin Encarnacion, then Jose Bautista. Against David Price has 6 career home runs. He is 20 for 58 at .345 average. Bautista loves the challenge of hitting against great pitchers. Kevin Pillar, what a game he had last night. A couple of hits, a big sacrifice bunt over his last 12 games. 14 for 41 with a double, 5 RBIs. Kevin Pillar is ready for the postseason.
You know what? We cannot forget about the great at-bat that Ezekiel Carrera had against Craig Kimbrell, hitting that sacrifice fly to win it. Everybody was on their game yesterday, and they're going to have to be this afternoon. They're going to face David Price. He leads the American League with those 225 innings. This is his 35th start of the season. He'll be the first Red Sox pitcher to make as many as 35 starts in the season since 1992, when Frank Viola did that. He was 1 strikeout shy of tying John Lester for the most ever by a Red Sox left-handed pitcher in a single season. Davis got 224. Everybody knows him in Canada, what he did for the Blue Jays last year to help them get into the playoffs. Today, they're going to try and knock Price out of this game early.
Well, everybody talks about the Red Sox and their great offense, but their defense is pretty good as well. They committed just 75 errors. They've got good speed in the outfield. The rookie Andrew Benintendi is in left. Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts in center and right. Brock Holt starts back at third base this afternoon. Bogarts and Pedroia up the middle. Henry Ramirez has become a very good first baseman. And Sandy Leon back behind the plate doing the catching for David Price.
He's got some great players. They were talking about Ortiz, but the heart and soul of the team might be this guy right here, Dustin Pedroia. This is start number 151 on the season at second base. That's the most games since 2013. His best season was 2011. He's made 6 errors all season long with a .990 fielding percentage. He's a 4-time Gold Glove winner.
Devin Travis back in the leadoff spot. David Price is set. Price is working out of a stretch position now. Travis goes after the first pitch and pops it up. Foul ground. The third baseman Brock Holt is there, and there's one. Well, we saw Price, of course, use an abbreviated windup, but this is even a little bit more stationary.
It's all about being in the stretch. He at times would start from that side saddle position and then move his feet and get himself into a semi windup. Now it's straight stretch. Carl Willis, the pitching coach, and him going over something, helping him to master the strike zone. This is why the Boston Red Sox went out and spent the big money on David Price to pitch in these big ball games like this.
Of course, the Red Sox have secured the division title. What's at stake now is home field advantage for the AL Division Series. That will be against Cleveland. The Texas Rangers, they won home field advantage throughout. They have 95 wins at the start of play. They will play the wild card winner, whenever that is determined. Josh Donaldson behind 0-1. Inside. Donaldson was 0 for 4 in the game last night. He lined out to the shortstop in the 7th. Had a 3 strikeout ball game. Trying to get something going today against Price.
Sitting on 99 RBIs. Last chance to do it today. Get to 100.
Inside. Donaldson against Price is 4 for 16. He's not homered against David. Defense basically straight away for Donaldson. Andy Ramirez just off the bag at first. Everybody else pretty much straight up. Price always has a tendency to go to the outside part of the plate. He will throw the ball inside, but I think he's more comfortable pitching away than he is inside.
To the right-handed batters, he can backdoor cut that pitch like he just did right there to Donaldson. He can turn the ball over. We've seen him do that in his career versus the Blue Jays. Pump that fastball away.
Another pitch away off the plate. Everything is about mid-thigh high. Hasn't been able to get the ball down just yet. Edwin Encarnacion will bat next. It's a 3-2 count on Donaldson. Outside, ball 4. So Donaldson takes ball 4. Price has struggled recently. He's trying to regroup a bit. He's given up 101 earned runs. You see his numbers over his last 3 starts. ERA over 6.5. Runs hitting almost 340 against him. And he's given up some home runs. Price for the season has allowed 29 home runs.
His last 3 games, twice against the Yankees, 1 time at Baltimore. In his last start at New York, 6 1/3 innings, they got him for 12 hits and 6 earned runs and a season high 3 home runs against David.
Here's Edwin Encarnacion, another pitch outside, but it catches the corner. Edwin batting .250 against David Price, but he has 4 career home runs. Fouled back. Edwin stuck on 42 home runs, and They'd love to get another home run to set a new career high in home runs.
And if he is, he's going to have to hit a mistake, number one. Or number two, he's going to have to hit it to right field, because this whole series they have pitched him away, trying to keep that ball in the big part of the ballpark.
That's just for effect there. You see that pitch inside. He's just trying to buy some of that outside corner. Had went 264 on the season. 34 doubles along with those 42 homers. Donaldson is 7 for 8 in stolen bases. Another pitch away. Everything is away, and I think Price should be a little bit concerned about the height of his pitches.
Those are about belt high right now, and you start creeping that ball over the middle of the plate at that height, that's when the ball starts leaving the ballpark.
Of course, Price has always pitched well against the Blue Jays. He has a 17-3 career record. This is his 25th start against the Jays.
He's given up 20 home runs to Toronto in his career, but he's had some very dominant games too.
That pattern is continuing inside off the plate and then back outside for a strike. The Red Sox, as funny as it might seem, have some concerns as they're headed into the postseason. We saw it firsthand last night with Craig Kimbrell, their closer. 2-2 to Encarnacion. Outside. Full count. Look at the height of all those pitches. I don't think that's what he wants to do.
No.
Everything is about belt high, like you said. He's asking for trouble if he keeps the ball in that plane.
And if he gets it in the middle of the strike zone, the Blue Jays have some hitters that can knock it over the wall in left field.
One hopper to Holt. Donaldson had to hold up. Price gets the double play. Josh didn't have much of a chance running from first to second. It was a low liner played on one hop. The double play ends the top half of the first. Boston Red Sox manager has won the AL East, and they're getting all set to take on the Cleveland Indians. And they would like to do it here at Fenway Park on Thursday and not in Cleveland. 93-68 for the season. Top of the order, Pedroia, Holt, and Betts. And David Ortiz. He's the only highlight in this lineup today. It is David Ortiz Day, his final regular season game of his 14-year career with the Red Sox. 541 career home runs, 17th all time. And second only to Ted Williams in franchise history with home runs.
What a career it's been. 5 years from now, we'll be talking about him going into the Hall of Fame. That is the lineup that Aaron Sanchez gets to face this afternoon. Start number 30 for Aaron Sanchez this year. 14-2, an incredible record, earned run average at just .306. He had it working in his last start against Baltimore. 6 innings, he punched out 10 Orioles. He won that 14th game in 16 decisions. He has been what the Blue Jays were hoping for when they drafted and signed him and developed him. He's turned into their best pitcher.
He had 10 strikeouts in that game against Baltimore. Second time this season he's recorded double-digit strikeouts. He throws a strike to Dustin Pedroia to start his outing. Pedroia had his hit streak come to an end against the Blue Jays. 30 straight games. Last night he was 0 for 4 with a walk. .320 average. Little chopper back to the mound. Sanchez will take his time, 1 away. Well, the Blue Jays played some pretty tight defense last night in support of Jay Happ and bullpen. Let's take a look at how they line up today. Coming up, the junior gets to start in left field. Kevin Pillar's in center. Ezekiel Carrera roaming that spacious outfield in right. Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Travis, and Encarnacion from third to first. Russell Martin eventually doing the catching, his 119th start of this season.
You know, one of those players who played a good game defensively is at second base. Devin Travis turned a tricky double play in the 8th inning and then ended the game with 2 really nice plays last night, taking his time and making the plays at second base. You've got a ground ball pitcher on the mound this afternoon in Sanchez, so you have to have good inner defense. Devin Travis was outstanding yesterday.
Made a terrific play on the pinch hitter Marco Hernandez for the second out of that 9th inning. This is Brock Holt. He waves at a nasty Sanchez curveball. Holt starting at third base for just the 10th time this season. John Farrell loves putting him in the ball game. There's so many things he can do to help you win a game. Not a power hitter, obviously. He's got 7 home runs, but he can bunt. He has good at bats. He runs well.
You can plug him in anywhere in the field. He's going to help you, and he's going to put up a tough at bats.
Tulowitzki at short throws him out. 2 ground ball outs for Sanchez here in the first. Aaron Sanchez coming into this game with a .306 earned run average. That's the best in the American League, just ahead of Masahiro Tanaka, the Yankees. And David Ortiz saying hello to a fan here. What a ceremony they had prior to this game. This is Mookie Betts. Might be the odds-on favorite to win the American League MVP award. Sanchez throws one inside. .320 average, 42 doubles, 5 triples, 31 homers, and 113 RBIs.
He can beat you so many ways. I mean, he is an outstanding all-around player, and they saw this coming when he was in the minor leagues for the Red Sox. They have a testing mechanism that they test all their players when their farm system to test their hand-eye coordination. He tested better than any player that they have ever had when it comes to hand-eye coordination. If an average is around 7 or good, his was up over 10. That's the type of athlete he is. He's got that great hand-eye coordination.
2-1, 2 outs. There's strike 2. Look at the location of those pitches. Compare those to where David Price was pitching the Blue Jays in the first inning. Sanchez is right down where he wants to be.
Down and away. Tough to get hurt that way.
Fly ball into right. Carrera coming in. He's there, makes the play. Easy inning for Aaron Sanchez. We played an inning here in Boston. No score.
Osuna has been through so many things through his professional career. After all, he has been playing pro ball since he was 16 back in Mexico. However, last night, there was a first for him. Never before in his pro career has Roberto Osuna balked. And a very interesting story as to what went on and why he did balk. He had a 3-0 count and was fully expecting Russell Martin to call for his fastball. Instead, he throws the cutter. And when he put the signal down for the cutter, Osuna was confused, which caused him to stop and start again, and that is why he ended up balking. He said he felt absolutely horrible when it happened. He knew exactly what he had done and was very thankful the team was able to win at the end. Buck, you caught for so many years. Have you ever had a situation where a pitcher balked in a run like that simply because he was confused on the pitch selection?
Absolutely. That's why you always tell pitchers to wait till I'm finished. You anticipate a certain pitch. You get into your set position before the catcher's finished with signs, and it'll happen a lot. More than you would think. Jose Bautista facing David Price. No one has hit more home runs or driven in more runs against David Price than Jose Bautista. Of course, they have faced each other so many times over the course of their careers. Price began his career with the Tampa Bay Rays. Bautista 6 home runs, 14 RBIs. (2-0) outside. 3-0. Price still having trouble locating that strike zone.
Locating the strike zone and locating the ball down.
Bautista certainly will have the opportunity to swing on this 3-0 pitch. He takes it. It's a strike.
A high strike. Indications that Price is going to be on a pitch count today or an innings limit today, so they're not going to push him deep into this ball game. So John Farrell says, you know, it's a tune-up for him as they get ready for the playoffs. But they still have a lot to play for.
They certainly do. They're trying to gain home field advantage for the ALDS against Cleveland. They will play the Cleveland Indians as the second and third seed, but it's still to be determined where they will play that game.
Right now, both of the teams have 93 wins heading into today's action.
Bautista pops it up on the 3-2 pitch. So if Cleveland wins and Boston loses, then Cleveland would host the team. But they have to play again.
They have to play Detroit. That's why that game is so interesting on Monday.
But if Cleveland wins.
If Cleveland wins and Boston loses.
Yeah, it's over.
Then yes. Then they'd be a game behind them with one to play. Then
wouldn't have to play the Monday game.
Cleveland would. Detroit still might have to.
Bautista takes ball 4. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Of course, lots going on. Julio Teheran pitching for the Braves, and he's a tough customer, hard-throwing right-hander, and Braves have had a good month. They have played well in September into October. This is Russell Martin, the catcher, after the leadoff walk. Price is really having trouble finding his release point early in this game. He has walked 2 already in first 4 batters he's faced. There's a strike. 1-1 to Martin. Russell walked twice in last night's game and scored both times. He was 0 for 2. Like we mentioned, Blue Jays scored 4 runs on 4 hits without hitting a home run.
Without hitting a home run, and the winning run scored on a sacrifice fly. They had some help from the defense of the Boston Red Sox.
Martin showing bunt and takes the ball. The winning run, Michael Saunders walked starting the 9th against Kimbrel. Kevin Pillar dropped down a beautiful sacrifice bunt that pushed the pinch runner, Dalton Pompey, to second. And then Kimbrel airmailed everything, threw the ball all the way back to the backstop, and Pompey went to third, and then sacked fly by Carrera.
That wild pitch was the ball game right there. Gets him to third base, less than 2 outs. And he can score on the sacrifice fly. But what an at-bat by Carrera against Kimbrel. And what an at-bat by Kevin Pillar against Kimbrel.
How often have we said that lately? Both of them.
From both of them. And there's the 8 and 9 hitters in the lineup last night doing their thing for the Blue Jays.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Russell Martin. Martin just 5 for 25 in his career against Price, a 200 average. Strike 3 call. Let's check in with Jamie right away. Kevin Gausman and Luis Cessa, the starting pitchers, and there you see the wild card standing as we speak. Blue Jays and Baltimore tied. Detroit currently trailing the Atlanta Braves. Troy Tulowitzki takes the first pitch strike. Tulowitzki's had some success against Price. He's 4 for 9 with a home run. A lot of offers for the Blue Jays in that game last night. He was 0 for 3 with a walk. Tulowitzki had 1 hit on Friday night. He was 1 for 4 in that game.
They proved in that game that they can win with pitching. They can win with defense. They can win when they don't hit a home run. It all makes it easier, right? But they came up with some clutch hits, and they came up with some runs that were manufactured, and that's what you're going to have to do to get into the playoffs. You're going to be running into every team's number 1 or number 2, and you're not going to score 10 runs a game. That's just the way it is. So you better figure out other ways to score runs. And last night, I think, could go a long way for the Blue Jays, their confidence going forward.
Tulowitzki behind Price 1 and 2, and he asked for time. I think the Blue Jays really set up well going into the postseason once they determine where they're going to play. Their starters have pitched great all season long. They're the only team in the American League whose starters' ERA is under 4. Fouled straight back in our direction.
Just above our head. That one was coming up here hot.
That was a very hard foul ball, just above us. And right up in our direction. And thankfully, it was over our head. So Tulowitzki, once again, with a 1-2 count. You just wonder how long they're going to go with David Price. You talked about 5 innings, or they're sure they have a pitch count, but I think they would like to see him have some clean innings, leaving him in a positive frame of mind.
Especially what happened to him his last start against the Yankees, where he gave up 3 home runs and 12 hits. But he's always been hit hard by the Yankees in his career.
Tulowitzki hits one high and deep to left. This one's got a chance to go. It's going to be off the wall. Bautista is headed around third. He's getting the wave. Bogarts with the relay to home, and they got it. What a terrific relay. Bogarts, the shortstop, has a cannon for an arm, and he threw a strike to nail Bautista at the plate.
When the ball came in from the outfield, Jackie Bradley, it looked like Bautista had a shot because he short-hopped Bogarts. This outfield for the Boston Red Sox has 34 outfield assists coming into this one. High off the wall, Jackie Bradley Jr. picks it up and he short hops Bogaerts, but watch him pick and fire a strike to get Bautista at the plate.
Terrific effort by Leon. He just dove back into the baseline and puts the tag on Bautista. He tried to slide around him, but Leon made a good tag. Execution, we talked about the defense. Jackie Bradley Jr. picks up his 13th outfield assist, and Bogaerts did a great job unloading that relay throw quickly and throwing a strike to Leon.
Didn't think they had a chance once that ball bounced to Bogaerts, but he got himself in position to catch the ball and throw all in one motion. And then through a strike, Leon goes out and tags Bautista right in the breadbasket and then holds on to the ball.
That's one thing that you haven't seen catchers do too often, and they want to swipe at him. He just dove back into the baseline and put the tag on Bautista. Bouncing ball up the middle. Pedroia from the shortstop side of second. Oh, what a play. Dust to Pedroia. Not only does he possibly save a run by catching that ground, then he throws out Upton, who can really run. Bautista tagged out at the plate. Now Upton thrown out to end the inning.
Number 34, David Ortiz.
Big Papi being celebrated all weekend long, and each and every time he comes to the plate, crowd gives him a standing ovation. Career coming to an end after 14 seasons with the Red Sox. This is his 20th season in the big leagues. Aaron Sanchez retired to sign an order in the first. David Ortiz, 541 home runs, 17th all-time.
And clutch, too. One of the best clutch hitters in baseball history. Postseason, big hits, big home runs, extra inning home runs all time. He's got 12.
Two and one. Got on and missed Sanchez at 97. That's one thing Aaron has done lately is he's used the four-seamer and the two-seamer upstairs, downstairs, really forcing hitters to cover the entire strike zone.
And his fastball can really move. It's got a lot of movement on it.
There's a great example of that 2-seamer. Ortiz strikes out, 4 in a row, retired by Sanchez. They talk about the ceremony. The 3 World Series teams of the Red Sox were here, and many of the players were here. And what about that picture? That's a pretty good selfie right there. David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, and Pedro Martinez, the heart and soul of this organization when they got back to the World Series in 2004, 2007, 2013.
3 Hall of Famers. As soon as Ortiz gets in, they, 1,100 home runs, career home runs between them, and a few Cy Young awards.
Hanley Ramirez. There's a good curveball for a strike. Well, you know Aaron Sanchez is focused on this game. He has been planning on this game. He had hopes that it would determine the winner of the AL East. That's not the case, but if the Blue Jays win, they're in the wild card game.
He was in pitcher's limbo, if you will, this whole week, wasn't he? Because there was indications that if this game didn't have any meaning, that he was going to be held back and held for the wild card game. So he went about his business this week on normal rest, and he did his normal workouts, getting ready to pitch today, but maybe being pushed back to Tuesday. So hats off to him to go out there and stay strong, stay disciplined mentally, getting ready. Not sure if he's going to be pitching today.
Well, he's got that down and away strike zeroed in right now. But right back to it. It's 2-2 to Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez just 1 for 10 against Aaron. Hanley's had a heck of a season. 286, 29 homers, and 110 driven in. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the second.
Home Hardware and Building Center locations, proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop, will step in. Bogaerts batting in the 6th spot. 2 outs. Bogaerts just turned 24. Well, Sanchez is in a great rhythm right now.
He's saying, if you want to take a pitch and take a strike, go ahead. Here's my best fastball. And it's right there. He's jumping ahead of these Red Sox hitters this afternoon.
You saw Pete Walker, the pitching coach, and we mentioned the Blue Jays starters have the best earned run average in the American League. The only team with starters ERA under 4. Pete Walker deserves a lot of credit for the development of these young pitchers. He's a hard worker and really understands the personalities of each and every one of his pitchers.
Not just the starters, but the relievers. He's in charge of the relievers. At times they have done their thing for the Blue Jays. When you've got young pitchers like the Blue Jays have, there's going to be some growing pains. And we've seen some growing pains with Marco Estrada this year. Aaron last year pitching out of the bullpen just a little bit. And you're constantly teaching and you're constantly tinkering and trying to work and finding a smooth spot for them where they feel comfortable.
Nice play by Sanchez. A hot shot comebacker on one hop. He goes to first. Quick inning for Aaron. 6 up, 6 down so far here in Boston. Now the Giants trying to keep the Cardinals out of the postseason. St. Louis at home against the Pirates. It's 0-0. Every game started at the same time within a 5-minute period. 3:05 Eastern time to make sure that there was no competitive edge. Kevin Pillar hits a liner to third. Caught by Holt.
There's Holt again. It seems like whenever anything happens, he's in the middle of it, either offensively, defensively. He starts in and then backs up. And then catches that liner from Pillar. Looked like it was going to be extra bases, but Brock Holt once again does his thing.
Very important for an American League team to have a Brock Holt who can play infield, outfield. He can play all 4 infield positions and gives you a chance to rest your regulars. Ezequiel Carrera shows bunt, takes a strike. What a week Carrera has had. He's got huge hits time and time again, either bunt, base hits for RBIs, sac fly in last night's game was the game winner. He puts the pressure on the infield. Dustin Pedroia, the second baseman, starts in a normal depth, and then before 2 strikes, he'll creep straight in, trying to guard against the bunt. Here he comes again.
Well, that's just what the Blue Jays needed. They need somebody to come off the bench and do a little something for the offense. Carrera has been good on the bases. He's stolen a couple of bases this week. He's made some nice plays in both left field and right field when he has played this week. For the last 16 games, he's hitting .350 and clutching up. That sac fly last night was a huge hit back, and he has earned the right to play today. John Gibbons had some options with the left-hander on the mound. Could have DH'd Deoner Navarro and played Jose Bautista in the outfield, but he's DHing Jose today, giving Carrera a little bit more room in the outfield and a little bit more defense in right field.
Well, and too, the Blue Jays have been struggling offensively, and he's one of the few hot hitters. You saw his numbers over his last 16 games. He's done a terrific job. There's that last foul ball, and the crowd reacts to this effort. Slippery fingers up there in that second deck. I can't believe you interfered with me. I had it. Carrera hanging tough again. This is like his at bat against Kimbrel when it produced the sacrifice fly in the 9th inning.
His previous at bat in last night's game, he came up with runners on first and third and bounced into a double play to end the inning. You knew that he wanted to get that run in. So he had a redeeming chance in the 9th inning against a tough pitcher, and Kimbrel throws 98 miles an hour, and he cut his swing down, got the ball into the outfield deep enough for the Blue Jays to win that game.
Another reason why Carrera's in the starting lineup today is hitting .348 against left-handed pitching. He's got 24 hits with 69 at bats. So for a part-time player, he's done a terrific job. And there was a time early in the season when he played a lot, and then he kind of wore down. And Bautista was out for an extended period of time.
So you put him on the bench, you rest him a little bit, he gets his second wind.
And he's called out on that inside pitch, plus with his second strikeout, 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Kemp. Thank you very much, Jamie. Of course, if Baltimore wins, then the Blue Jays win. The Blue Jays would host the wild card game. Dependent, of course, on Detroit.
Yeah, yeah. Don't forget about them.
Detroit has 2 games remaining to be played. Today and a Monday makeup game caused by the rainout on Thursday.
But if Baltimore wins and Toronto wins, Detroit is eliminated because Toronto and Baltimore each have 89 wins. The best Detroit could do would be 88.
You're right. So if both the Orioles and the Blue Jays win, it's done. And the head matchup favors the Blue Jays, so the game would be played Tuesday in Toronto. So it's in the Blue Jays' hands. Ground ball up the middle. That'll get through for a base hit for Devin Truss.
You know, it's a tall task going up against David Price on the road, but that's what playoff baseball is all about. Last night's game felt like a playoff game. Blue Jays were in it, and they were down, then they were up, then they were down, then it was tied, then they went ahead, where every play, every pitch, everything had a purpose to it. Those are the kind of games that can really get you going this time of the year. You start playing these tight games. That's why the wild card teams, I think, have been so successful in the past in the playoff round. There's no tomorrow. You play for today.
Josh Donaldson walked his first time up. Josh with 99 RBIs. Donaldson's trying to become just the second Blue Jay to drive in 100 runs in each of their first 2 seasons as a Blue Jay. The first to do it, Joe Carter. He did it 4 straight seasons after he was traded from San Diego. Of course, Donaldson had that MVP year last year in his first year with the Blue Jays, and if he drives in 1 more, he'll join Carter. Line drive to left. And Intendi is right there. Donaldson hit it hard, but right to the left fielder. The Blue Jays get a 2-out single and nothing more. Middle of the 3rd, no score.
And today they will be hosting a wild card game Tuesday at Rogers Center, and if you want a luxury suite, they are now on sale for the postseason. Call 416-341-1635. Now back to Buck and Pat.
Thank you, Barry. You can see all the Blue Jay fans in attendance here, and they've been treated to a real cool weekend with the David Ortiz ceremonies each game. This is Jackie Bradley Jr.
Jackie's having some kind of season this year. There are his numbers: 26 homers, 87 RBIs. He's buying into his hitting coach's ideas. Chili Davis has been a good fit for him. A lot of young hitters, they get to the big leagues. They've had success in the minor leagues. There's Chili. He's an outstanding hitting coach. Then there's that one last piece of polish that you have to take to some of these young hitters to get them to the major league level. And Jackie Bradley's done that.
This is popped up out into the outfield. Tulowitzki gets there and makes the catch in shallow center. Well, the Blue Jays have gotten great starting pitching all season long, and nobody really projected who would have the impact, but as a unit, they have really pitched well over the last 16 games.
That's a rolling rotation. You should win a lot of ball games when your ERA is 1.6 and opponents hit just 2.07. You know, they fill up the strike zone. They throw a lot of first pitch strikes. They've got outstanding stuff. We got to give some of the credit to Russell Martin behind the plate, who does his homework, poring over the scouting reports of the other teams and formulating a game plan.
Blue Jays are the only team in the American League to have 3 pitchers in the top 10 in their opponent's batting average. Marco Estrada leads in that category at 203. Sanchez is 5th at 228, and Happ is 7th at 231. You keep the other team from hitting, you're going to keep them from scoring. Sandy Leon, the catcher, 2-0 count on him. There's a strike. Now it's 3-1. Sanchez has retired 7 straight to start this game. Andrew Benintendi, the rookie left fielder, in the 9th spot this afternoon. There's a walk to Leon. Well, we mentioned the starting rotation at one point. It was a 6-man rotation. Early in the season, it was 5. And these 2 starters have combined to win 34 games against just 6 losses. That's a tremendous amount of production from 2 spots in your rotation.
Okay, everybody at home, raise your hand if you thought that you would get 34 wins from Sanchez and Happ when the season started. They go 34-6. My hand's not up. I'll be honest with you. I thought they would do okay, but I didn't think they would have the kind of year, both of them, that they've really anchored this staff. If you throw in some of those no decisions in some games where they left with the lead and the bullpen coughed up the lead, their records could be even better.
And also, all of you fans that got on the Blue Jays for signing Jay Happ, you should apologize. Twice he had a chance for his 21st win of this season. Both times the bullpen gave up the lead. This is Benintendi, the rookie, a ball on the strike on him. Boy, the Red Sox rave about this young man and what he might turn out to be. He's got a 300 average since joining the team.
He's got a sweet looking swing too. I think once he gets a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, you're going to see 20, 25 home runs. You're going to see a 300 average. Torey Lovullo was talking to you and I before the ball game today, and he said, you know what? We've got 3 of the best young outfielders in baseball. And they're young, they're athletic, they're our own players that we developed in our farm system, and they're going to be around for a long time together.
Benintendi is from the 2015 draft. He's 22 years old. They brought him to the big leagues from AA Portland. He's never played in AAA. Sanchez now with a 2-2 count. Aaron has struck out 2. He walked Leon here in this inning with 1 out. Flying ball deep to left field. Pilar back near the scoreboard makes the catch. Leon hustling back to first. Let's check in quickly with Jamie Campbell. Great weekend for Giant baseball as they were finishing up with the Dodgers and Vin Scully's final broadcast of his 67-year career. Benintendi retired on the fly out to center field. Now Dustin Pedroia
There is so much going on in baseball. I can't keep it all straight today.
Vin Scully's last game, David Ortiz's last game.
Chris Dahl's last game.
Chris Dahl, our great cameraman, his last game. 34 years of great service. Pedroia fouls this one back. Chris Dahl has been our high first cameraman for 34 years, and he's retiring. 34, and he's a terrific cameraman, one of the best in the business, and an outstanding part of our team. He brings a lot to the show every single day. He's a huge baseball fan and a historian. He understands the game like nobody else.
Thanks for the great memories with all of his great shots over the years.
Dustin Pedroia behind 0-2. Now it's 1-2. Russell Martin's not really been pleased with the strike zone, and oftentimes when you have an umpire that hasn't seen Sanchez an awful lot, doesn't recognize how much his ball moves, and you will call a pitch before it moves into the strike zone. And that's what Russell was trying to convince Chris Guccione about.
Just a little friendly reminder.
Stay with it.
Stay with it just a little bit longer.
Off the glove of Sanchez, and they're going to have to hurry at second. They do. Good play by Travis. Traveling to Tulowitzki to end the inning. We played 3 in Boston. No score.
One of 3 Toronto Blue Jays VIP weekends in 2017. Contest details and rules available at bluejays.com/bear contest. By the way, I want to quickly take an opportunity to thank everybody on the crew as well. You guys make my job very easy, and I much appreciate all of you.
Thank you very much, Barry. You do a great job yourself, and this is a good team, and one that comes to work every day with a smile on their face, and most of the times we leave with a smile on their face.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. This is a great crew.
For the Blue Jays, it'll be Encarnacion, Bautista, and Martin here in the 4th. Edwin, of course, a free agent after this season. He did not want to talk to the Blue Jays about the contract once the regular season began, and he stuck to his word.
And he has that right. And I respect players who say, you know what, I don't want to be messing around with my contract during the season. let's just go out there and play some baseball. And to his credit, he's put up a career year.
Edwin will turn 34 in January. He has spent 8 seasons with the Blue Jays. Today he's playing in his 999th game as a Blue Jay.
Wow. Is he in the class with some of the great sluggers that the Blue Jays have had over the years?
Without question. Absolutely.
Yep.
Carlos Delgado is the franchise leader in home runs. Vernon Wells, another one of the slugger. Bautista, of course, and Edwin. Joe Carter.
George Bell.
George Bell, great sluggers.
That's one thing that the Blue Jays have always had, it seems like, that number 4 hitter sluggers. Fred McGriff in the middle of that lineup. Dave Winfield for a season. The great sluggers that you were talking about, Carter and George Bell. Edwin and Jose right there with them.
Leadoff walk to Encarnacion.
A lot has changed in 40 years, but one thing hasn't. Honda, proud fan since 1977, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Full house here at Fenway Park. All 3 games sold out. The Red Sox were on an 11-game road trip, and they just came back for this series to wrap up their regular season schedule. Bautista bunts it down the third baseline, and it took one bounce and kicked into foul territory. Not a bad idea. First guy gets on, and Holt was deep at third, and if he lands it in the grass, maybe 3 feet farther right, it's going to stay in the grass.
It'll stay in the grass, but it took one bounce, hit the lip, and then kicked foul. I have a problem with that. After a leadoff walk, they had a leadoff walk in the second inning and couldn't score a run. They had a walk with 1 out in the second inning, couldn't score a run. Got to make something happen. Do whatever it takes. Brock Holt at third base is playing way back there.
This one's fouled back out of play, but so into. Now you see the numbers for Bautista against Price, a 345 average. 6 homers. We mentioned Bautista's hit more home runs against Price than any other hitter. He's also driven in more runs against Price. No score, top of the 4th inning, only 2 hits, both of those by the Blue Jays. Tulowitzki with a double, Devin Travis with a 2-out single. Bautista stays off that inside pitch. Price is Bautista's favorite home run victim. Those 6 home runs are the most he's hit against any one pitcher. It's kind of a who's who of pitchers for Bautista, his top home run victims. He's hit 5 off James Shields and 5 off John Lester. He likes to go up against the best. That'll be a full count now to Jose. Price has walked 3. Donaldson, Encarnacion, and Bautista. That once again reflects their power.
From 0-2 to 3-2. So you might be seeing that cutter right here. He throws it hard, upper 80s with that cutter. He throws it about 20% of the time with 2 strikes. And I bet he tries to backdoor it too.
Leon with the sign. Price is set. Green light swinging. Bautista rips it through the left side into left field. They didn't get it far enough away, and Bautista drilled it to left.
That was the cutter. about 88 miles an hour, and it caught way too much of the play, and Jose jumped all over it. Instead of going back door, that's where Leon wanted it initially, and then he shook to the inside part of the plate, and it's up again, and Jose was waiting for it.
Yeah, I can see why Price has had trouble recently. He has just not been able to get the ball down. We noticed this in the first inning. Everything was about mid-thigh or belt high. So Russell Martin now, a chance to put the Blue Jays on the board. Nobody out, first and second. Hanley Ramirez is on the edge of the grass at first, kind of guarding against the bunt.
Bogarts, the shortstop, is playing behind Encarnacion. I don't think he's going to be bunting, is he? I didn't think so.
Not bunting. You know, it's really hard for a visiting team to bunt in this ballpark because the Red Sox are so good at coming back late in ball games, especially here in the fourth inning. You better play for multiple runs in this ballpark. If you don't, you're always going to be chasing the Red Sox.
Play for big innings. Look at the hole he has on the left side. If he can catch one of those cutters into a ground ball straight to the shortstop. Plenty of room. Yeah, you play for one run. That's basically what you're going to get. John Gibbons has always said, I don't like to bunt, especially against the Red Sox. I like to play for the big inning.
So Martin hits it in the air. Jackie Bradley Jr., the center fielder, has it, and Martin's retired on the fly ball to center. There are a couple of things that factor in when you try to figure out if you should bunt or not. First of all, the offense of your opponents. Are they capable of scoring multiple runs? And the checkbox is yes for the Red Sox. And then how many runs are you going to give up? Well, in this ballpark, you're not really sure. You can always give up a bunch of runs in this ballpark, just a mistake or two, and the game can be blown wide open.
I got another box that you can take a look at. How's your bullpen set up? How's your bullpen looking? Do I need to play for one run now? And my bullpen's locked down and it's going to be a close game, but if it's not, you got to get as many runs as possible.
Troy Tulowitzki doubled off the green monster his first time up on that play. Bautista was thrown out at home trying to score from first. Tulowitzki's now 5 for 10 against David Price.
Oh, get one up right here. Blue Jays haven't hit a home run in 2 days.
He pops this one up on the infield. Infield fly rule in effect. Pedroia makes the catch. Now 2 away. So the Blue Jays, a promising start to the inning. A walk and a single. Now they need a 2-out hit from Upton. Upton was robbed of a base hit by Dustin Pedroia his first time up. He had a bouncing ball up the middle. Pedroia went on the shortstop side of second on the edge of the grass, gloved it, and threw to first in time to retire Upton.
This is where, in this ballpark, that runner at second base with 2 outs has got to get a huge secondary lead. Base hit to left field, there's no guarantee that you can score because it's so short.
You can see the outfield is just medium depth for Upton. The left fielder can play in because anything over his head is going to bang off that wall.
That's right. So the base hit to left field. If you don't have a big secondary lead, you're not going to score.
0-2. Price took a shot at that inside corner and missed. Price has struck out 2. when he struck out Carrera in the third. That set a new franchise record for strikeouts by a left-handed pitcher. He came in the game with 224 strikeouts, one shy of John Lester's record, set in 2009, equaled in 2010. There's another strikeout. Oh, Blue Jays got something going against Price, and he retired the next three in order, including the strikeout of Upton.
WestJet, daily nonstop flights and great vacation deals. Book your Vegas getaway today at WestJet.com or call your travel agent. And if you're wondering about our WestJet look-ahead schedule, well, we don't know it yet. Guys, all we do know is that the Blue Jays will be playing a baseball game on Tuesday. It will either be a play-in game of some sort or a wild card game. Where it will be, we still don't know.
Well, when the Blue Jays left Toronto, they were told to pack until Friday, pack for travel until Friday, because that would get them back home. So yeah, it's been it's the life of a baseball player.
Yeah.
You know, just get on the team bus and we'll tell you where we're going when we get on the plane.
I don't know about you or what your suitcase looks like, but mine's about 150 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
It is just jam-packed, anticipating everything or anything that could happen.
This is Brock Holt, the number 2 batter in this Red Sox lineup today.
Change up. I was talking to Russell Martin about that, and he made a comment about Sanchez throwing change-ups to Pedro Alvarez, and he said, you know what, young guys, they got to throw it. If they want to develop it, they can't run away from it and hide from their changeup. They got to use it in a ball game, and he used it against Alvarez on a 3-2 pitch to strike him out.
It's such an important weapon, and the more these young pitchers pitch, the more experience they gain, the more they'll understand the value of changing speeds, even with your fastball. And I think Aaron's learned that on his fastball this year. Every fastball doesn't have to be 98. Oh, what a good curveball. Just 79 miles an hour, and he gets another strikeout.
That's his third of the afternoon. When you gear up for that fastball, he spins that curveball so well, spins it right off of his finger, and gets a lot of break on it. What you want to do is, to lefties, you want to get it underneath their bats, down and in like that. Good pitch.
So many young pitchers want to overpower that curveball, and Aaron has been very patient throwing it. He just goes through a nice delivery and allow the ball to break. He doesn't try to force the break.
There were times when he was a young player that he would overthrow it, trying to throw it as hard as he could or try to make it perfect.
Fly ball into the outfield. Pilar calls for it. Pilar calls for it, and Carrera pulls out of the way. Ball in the air. Out in that direction. It's really got to be crushed. David Ortiz in his speech here this afternoon prior to this ball game. I want to thank all of his teammates that brought out the best in him. Thank the ownership group of the Red Sox for bringing him here to this great organization. They thank Pedro Martinez specifically for championing his cause to get the Red Sox to bring Ortiz here. And what a move it was.
Yeah, that was right after Minnesota released him. And the story goes, Pedro Martinez was in contract talks with the ownership and said, hey, by the way, this isn't about me. This isn't about my contract. But did you just find out that David Ortiz got released? He'd be a good pickup for this organization.
0-2. Breaking ball. He checked his swing. Career with Boston, 14 seasons, a .290 average. 483 home runs and 1,530 RBIs. And then there's the discussion, of course, is David Ortiz the best Red Sox player ever? And some of the people around Boston believe that he is. And of course, I haven't been around Boston my entire career, but I would have to say the best player that ever played for the Red Sox was Ted Williams.
Yes, yeah. He played a position too. Ortiz has been mainly a designated hitter for this team. No question about his power.
Ted Williams hit 521 home runs and missed 5 years in the prime of his career serving in the military. 97 for the strikeout. Sanchez retires the side in order. We go to the fifth in a scoreless game. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
By sharing your Blue Jays cheer far and wide, visit RogersCelebrates.com. Guys, the interesting thing about scoreboard watching today is that all the games are starting at the same time, and Major League Baseball did that so teams all know what is going on by the time their game ends.
Yeah, it's a very good move for the integrity of the game, so teams out on the West Coast don't have a competitive edge. David Price, 68 pitches through 4 innings. Kevin Pillar goes after the 69th pitch. Pops it up into the outfield. Mookie Betts calls for it. 1 away. Let's check in with Jamie Kemp. Waiters with 4 RBIs on the afternoon. Kevin Gausman, 5 innings, 6 hits, a single run allowed. So Baltimore has a 5-1 lead. No score here at Fenway Park. Detroit and Atlanta. Braves have a 1-0 lead, top of the 5th in Atlanta. Julio Teheran has 8 strikeouts in 4 2/3. Justin Verlander, he's the starter for the Tigers. He's allowed 1 run on 4 hits over his 4 innings. But don't discount those Tigers. They're swinging the bats well.
They got some firepower in that lineup, especially in the middle of the lineup. He had a chance last night, but Victor Martinez lined out to end the ball game. Lots of cheering for the Blue Jays when that happened.
What a way to spend a Sunday afternoon at Fenway Park with family, having some ice cream. It's a cool day. It's a festive atmosphere for sure. 1-2. Guerrero strikes him. That's 4 strikeouts for Price. Carrera has gone down twice.
Yeah, second time he's gone down. Looks like David Price has gone back to his windup, if you will. He's starting to take a step again. Remember in the first couple of innings, it was basically out of the stretch the whole time. He's side saddle on the mound, but he's stepping back and trying to get a little bit of a windup. There he goes. Trying to get some movement before that pitch is delivered.
This is why this start is important for David Price. He can afford to experiment here in this final regular season game before he makes a postseason start. Devin Travis hits it high and deep down the left field line. If it stays fair, it's gone, and it does. Devin Travis, with his 11th home run, has given the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead.
That's also Devin's 50th RBI of the season. He's got a multi-hit game again, pushing that average up over 300. He's got some power in that swing. He's always looking for the ball away, but if you try to go inside, he's quick enough to get the hands through and the bat head through, and he can hit a long way.
Devin has 2 hits this afternoon. The Blue Jays have 4 hits in total, and Devin has 2 of them. And he's given the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead.
You know what was pretty about that swing is how he kept his hands inside the ball, and then it's a cutter from Price. The hands are inside the ball, and when your hands stay inside the ball, you're not going around the ball, hooking the ball foul. You go through it, and that's how you can keep it fair down the left field line.
Price now has surrendered 30 home runs, and Devin Travis with his 11th has put the Jays on the board. 1-0. The Orioles have the 5-1 lead over the Yankees in New York. They're in 6th. .93, and Donaldson swings through it. It's 2-2 now. Fly ball to left, Benintendi at the track in front of the scoreboard, and he's got room, and he makes the catch. Donaldson flies out to end the 5th, but Devin Travis, his second hit of the afternoon, is a homer. He hits it into the green monster seats, his 11th of the season, and Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead thanks to Devin Travis, and Sanchez has allowed just one walk in this ball game. That's the Pedroia hit into a fielder's choice to erase Sandy Leon, who took the 1-out walk. That was in the 3rd.
You know what he's doing? He's jumping ahead. He's throwing that first pitch strike in there, getting the Red Sox on the defensive, jumping ahead of them. Many times already this afternoon we've seen fastballs right down the middle, and the Red Sox are trying to work them over, and it's not working.
Hanley Ramirez was looking for a first pitch fastball, got it, but it tied him up. Sanchez has an explosive fastball. You know, other guys can throw 97, but his 97 is different. His 97 comes in there like a bowling ball.
Heavy ball.
Exploded.
And it's moving too. Trying to hit a moving target.
Boy, he has been zeroed in on that down and away strike to the right-handed hitters. If you can hit that all day long, you're not going to have too many problems. That is the hardest pitch for a hitter to get to. Down and away at the knees. It's the furthest away from your eyes, and you really have to make an effort to get to it. Went right back to it.
He's feeling pretty comfortable about hitting his spot with that fastball. Russell Martin said fastball away, and he went right back there.
Well, when Aaron gets into these grooves like this, when he's really feeling good with his delivery, he will keep throwing that fastball. He said, why would I throw anything else?
Well, when you do that, fastball away, fastball away, fastball away, now you can expand with a breaking ball.
Another fastball hit in the air. Pilar, the center fielder, coming in.
The all-new 2017 Ridgeline, our newest vehicle and their newest fan. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
The Red Sox bullpen starting to go to work. That is Heath Hembree. The right-hander, he throws hard. So he's loosening up. David Price has pitched 5 innings. We were told it would be an abbreviated start, but nobody really said what the innings limit would be. It looks like it might be 5. Xander Bogaerts tapped back to the mound his first time up.
There's another one right down the middle. Get ahead. Aaron didn't get the call on the first pitch, a high strike. Called that one out of the strike zone, so he comes right back in and pours that fastball right down the middle.
And there's a curveball that he misses with. Now this might be a perfect time to come right back with another curveball. He's been throwing so many fastballs. The hitter Bogaerts got to be thinking fastball. Aaron threw one bad curveball. He can make an adjustment here. Martin wants the fastball away. Boy, he is hitting that corner, isn't he?
Stay right there. Stay right there against those right-handed batters.
Yeah, it's not like he's hitting that corner at 85. He's hitting it at 97. There's the breaking ball for the strikeout. Bogaerts strikes out. That's 5 strikeouts for Sanchez.
Yeah, you keep throwing fastballs down and away, then you can expand with that breaking ball. And he's got a good curveball. Spins it right off of that hand and puts it in a good spot.
Jackie Bradley Jr. popped out to Tulowitzki his first time. Do that in a 1-run game. Yeah. He's hit by the pitch with 2 outs.
Well, he's got some speed too over there at first base. Jackie Bradley's had 9 stolen bases in 2 attempts, and after that, you see Aaron, he's called out Russell Martin. He didn't want to do that. Just reached back and threw it a little bit too hard, and when you reach back, look at his head starting to pull out of there. That's when you start to pull the ball, and it hits him right in the back of the leg.
Nowhere for Bradley to go. So he is hit by a pitch with 2 outs. Sandy Leon, the catcher, walked. It's only time up. Bradley has 9 stolen bases. He's been caught twice. Not going. Leon goes after the first pitch. You know, there's so many ways to shut down a running game, but first pitch strike is one of the best. You just eliminate the number of pitches that a base runner has to steal. Before that first pitch strike, you're really cutting down his percentages.
Especially with 2 outs. Just go right after that guy. If he ends up stealing, he steals. Take care of the guy at the plate.
Inside. Cleveland and Kansas City, they are tied 2-2, top of the 6th in Kansas City. That, of course, has implications as far as the Red Sox are concerned. Cleveland has 93 wins. Same as the Red Sox, and Cleveland has a game to play on Monday. If that game is needed, they will play that game tomorrow at Comerica at 1 p.m.
And there's a chance that it could mean something for both of the teams. The game got rained out this week. He might try and steal second base here.
1-2 count.
Gambling that there's going to be a breaking ball from Sanchez as he goes for the strikeout.
Not running. There's the breaking ball for the strikeout. He threw the curve. The only thing that you didn't call, Pat, Bradley didn't run. He strikes out Leon to end the 5th.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.com for details. Guys?
Thank you, Barry. 1-0 Blue Jays lead it here as we head to the 6th. New pitcher for Boston will be Heath Hembree in his 4th stint with the Red Sox this season.
First time that we have seen him in this series against the Blue Jays. Pretty good numbers in 37 games. Big guy, throws hard. Hard fastball. He's got a hard breaking ball. Averaging almost a strikeout an inning. He's going to come in for an inning, maybe 2, and throw it as hard as he can.
High and deep to left, but it's going to hook foul into the seats. Encarnacion jumping on that first pitch. Edwin has 2 hits against Hembree. 2 hits in 6 at-bats. Both of those hits home runs.
Well, he likes to come after you. Here's my fastball. Here's my breaking ball. And after that swing right there by Encarnacion, the whole infield is now going to play in a shift mode.
Ground ball. Hope at third has it. Rights himself, throws to first in time.
And they're glad that they did. After they saw Encarnacion open up his hips and yank that ball foul on the first pitch, Dustin Pedroia and Bogaerts both shifted over on the left side of the infield, and the hit was taken away from Edwin.
Jose Bautista, in his 9th season with the Blue Jays, has 265 home runs with the Blue Jays. Of course, he led the American League in home runs in 2010 and 2011. He hit 54 home runs in 2010. As a Blue Jay, Bautista is a 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner, which recognizes the best offensive player at each defensive position. He's won that award 3 times.
He's trying to go deep right now, too. Those last two swings. Free agent at the end of the season. He knows what's going to happen with that. But he's been another one of those guys. Great slugger. Great career with the Blue Jays. It's interesting. The guys that we've talked about, Encarnacion and Jose Bautista, unwanted by other organizations. Happens all the time where teams make mistakes on players.
Well, we talk about David Ortiz playing with two teams before he landed here in Boston. Edwin Encarnacion, originally drafted and signed with the Texas Rangers, came to the big leagues with Cincinnati as a third baseman. You never really know when it's going to click for a player, or ever, if it will ever click. But Bautista played with 5 teams one season and just moved around. That was 2004. Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and just was back and forth, up and down, claimed on waivers, picked up. And boy, when he came to Toronto, things clicked for him.
He got a chance to play. He got a chance to play every day and establish himself as a major leaguer, and he took advantage of it. Went out there and became a fierce slugger in all of baseball. Tim Leeper was telling me the other day that he would see him in the minor league and say, you know what, he's got some legitimate bat speed. All he needs is a chance with a team, and the Blue Jays were that chance, and it worked out.
Two and two now, 1 out. We're in the 6th inning. The Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. They'll tap her toward first. Ramirez waves off the pitcher. Bautista's retired.
Home Hardware and Building Center locations, proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
That's the Prudential Building in the center of your screen, just a few blocks away from Fenway Park. Good shot of downtown Boston. We haven't been able to see that most of the time because of the clouds and the rain. But things have lightened up here dramatically on this 3rd and final day. Russell Martin, a 2-out single on the first pitch. Russell's 1 for 3. Blue Jays have 5 hits now. They only had 4 hits in their win last night.
One of them has left the ballpark, and another one almost left the ballpark. Off the bat of the guy coming up to the plate for the Blue Jays, Tulowitzki.
Troy Tulowitzki hit one about 3/4 of the way up the Green Monster in left center. A double in the 2nd inning. For Tulo, his 21st double of the season. Line drive into center. Jackie Bradley Jr. is there and makes an easy catch. The Blue Jays get a 2-out single. Aaron Sanchez is getting set to take the mound in the 6th. Boston doesn't have a hit yet against Sanchez. Devin Travis hit a solo home run in the 5th. That's the only run of the ball game. There have only been 5 hits in the game. Aaron Sanchez has had 5 terrific innings to start this ball game. The only walk was issued to Sandy Leon with 1 out in the 3rd.
Aaron's also hit a batter that came last inning, but other than that, his fastball command has been outstanding. His breaking ball has been outstanding. He's trying to go through this Red Sox lineup after Benintendi, the first batter, for a 3rd time.
Number 9 hitter Andrew Benintendi takes the first pitch outside. Red Sox, the best hitting team in the American League. Tried to swing and went around. Quinn Wolcott down at 3rd, brings him up for the swing. It's a ball and a strike to Benintendi.
Started the year in A-ball, played 34 games there, then up to Double-A for 63 games before he was called up to the Red Sox on August 2nd. You can see he has an advanced approach at the plate. The way he strides, the way he takes those tough pitches, keeps his hands back. At the time that he was brought up, he was leading all of the minor leagues in triples with 12. He had also had 76 RBIs, and Chili Davis believes he's going to be a pretty good player.
Chili Davis, a longtime major league hitter himself, a switch hitter. Now the hitting instructor for the Boston Red Sox. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Lays off that high fastball. Sanchez had to have a great spring to earn a spot in the rotation, and he did. He was in competition with Gavin Floyd. Wow. Sanchez doesn't get called. Leadoff walk to Benintendi here in this 1-run game. Second walk issued by Sanchez. But John Gibbons saw Sanchez in the spring, and he and his coaching staff said, hey man, we got to have this guy in the rotation. This is Aaron wanted that starting job. He worked out in the offseason at Duke with Marcus Stroman. He put on a lot of muscle, got himself in great shape. And he said that stability of having the strength in his legs and lower half has allowed him to refine his mechanics and repeat his delivery.
Yeah, it didn't start in March. It started at the end of the 2015 season. What he has done this year. Getting stronger, getting a little bit more physical.
Pedroia hits it on the ground. Donaldson at 3rd, second for 1, back to 1st. In time, double play. So that leadoff walk erased by the double play. Good feed from Donaldson. Good turn to second by Travis. And they get Pedroia to bounce into the 5-4-3 double play.
Tough hitter. The ball taking Donaldson to the bag. How about the turn by Travis at second base? Much to the delight of his starter, Aaron Sanchez. He was bearing down and turned it with his left foot, planted the right foot, and fired right over the head of the sliding base runner. Got to stay right in there with that runner bearing down on you. Good turn.
Brock Holt hits one high and deep into the outfield, but that's no man's land out there. The triangle here at Fenway. Aaron Sanchez, through 6 innings, has not allowed a base hit to the potent Red Sox. John Farrell out on the mound. He's got the baseball in his hand. That means that Keith Hembree is out of the game, and Robbie Ross Jr. will come into the game. What happened is the Blue Jays sent Michael Saunders to the plate as a pinch hitter. He was announced into the game before the pitch was ever thrown. So Saunders is in, Hembree is out, Robbie Ross Jr. on, and it's 1-0 game.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new 2017 Ridgeline. A lot of things have changed, but one thing hasn't. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Proud fan since 1977.
Dogs on the grills, new pitcher into the ball game. Hembree is out. Robbie Ross Jr. in to face Michael Saunders, who has been announced into the game as a pinch hitter.
A couple of good lefties in the pen for the Red Sox. This is one of them. Robbie Ross throws hard. Nice little breaking ball also. Lefties have hit 192 against him this year. That's the 10th lowest for all AL pitchers this season. So as soon as Michael Saunders was announced into the ball game by the home plate umpire Chris Cuccione, John Farrell goes to the mound and goes to his lefty.
0-2 quickly to Saunders. Saunders batting for Melvin Upton Jr., who finished up 0-2. Michael for the season carrying a .254 average. He's established a new career high with 24 home runs, and he's driven in 57. That's the hard throwing Matt Barnes. Barnes pitched in last night's game, came into the game with a runner on. He was able to get out of the inning. Gave up an RBI base hit to Pilar. The run was charged to the starter Eduardo Rodriguez. So Barnes' line was 1 inning, 1 hit, and 1 walk. 1-2 to Michael Saunders, and that's a pitch upstairs. It's a 1-0 game. Blue Jays have 5 hits. The Red Sox don't have a hit. Detroit and Atlanta, it is still a 1-0 Braves lead, bottom of the 6th. Baltimore leading the Yankees 5-1 in New York, top of the 8th. David Ortiz playing in his final regular season game. The same for Mark Teixeira for the Yankees. Teixeira started the game. He has been taken out of the game after going 0 for 3. So his career has come to an end with the Yankees.
Top 5 most home runs by a switch hitter in Major League Baseball history.
Saunders hits it hard. Pedroia's on the outfield grass. He throws quickly in time to retire Saunders.
What a year it's been for Joe Girardi in New York with the Alex Rodriguez stuff all season long. The injuries that they've had. Then Teixeira announces his retirement. They make a nice little run. They trade away his whole bullpen basically. So you want to be a major league manager.
Well, the Yankees will finish over 500. Coming into today's game, 84-77 record. Kevin Pillar has lined out and popped out. Top of the 7th inning on this final Sunday of the regular season. David Price, the starter for Boston, went 5 innings, allowed just 1 run. Pillar shoots one past Ramirez down the right field line. He's headed for second. Mookie Betts plays it off the wall. Pillar with a stand-up double.
What a series Kevin Pillar has had here in Boston to finish up the season. Kevin had 2 hits in yesterday's game, 3 RBIs, a big sacrifice bunt, and then gets himself into scoring position with this hit down the right field line. He's made a habit of hitting doubles this year. Mookie Betts plays it nicely off the wall to hold him to a double.
For Pillar, that's his 35th double of the season. Comes with 1 out now. Ezekiel Carrera, the number 9 hitter.
35 doubles for Pillar. That gets him just outside the top 10 in the American League in doubles on the season. The leader, David Ortiz, 48 doubles this season.
And the Red Sox, they're a doubles machine, and some of that has to do with the Green Monster. A lot of those doubles are home runs in other ballparks. But Boston coming into this game with 343 doubles. And we always talk about doubles keeping the pressure on a pitcher. Give up a double, you turn around, there's a guy in scoring position. Give up a home run, bases are clean.
Yeah, always. You're in the stretch. Those doubles that you mentioned, that's the highest percentage of hits for a team that are doubles in baseball. It's the highest figure for the Boston Red Sox since 2013.
Outside. Looking at the National League wild card race, the Pirates lead the Cardinals 2-1 in St. Louis. They're in the 6th inning. Meanwhile, out in San Francisco, the Giants lead the Dodgers 5-1. So the Cardinals are a game behind the Giants for the 2nd spot in the wild card race. The Mets, and you mentioned this yesterday, what a job Terry Collins has done with the Mets, considering all the injuries and all the different position players they have lost and moved players in and out. And about Jose Reyes, he's gone over there and sparked the team late in the season.
He gets my vote for manager of the year. Doing it all under the microscope of New York, too.
Carrera hits it back to the mound. Bobby Ross thought about going to second, and he made a good call right there. Drive of the Game is brought to you by Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays, proud fan since 1977.
To this point, the only player to touch home plate this afternoon is Devin Travis. This is his 11th home run of the season. Deep down the left field line. There he is as he touches home plate with this afternoon's drive of the game.
11th home run of the season, and Devin Travis has forced John Farrell's hand into a pitching change. Travis, the right-hander, Ross out, Matt Barnes in. broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. David Ortiz was honored in a pregame ceremony. Each of the 3 days, they've had a different theme of their pregame ceremonies to honor David Ortiz. Today, it was all about his former teammates and the great teams the Red Sox have put together since David Ortiz joined the organization.
Matt Barnes into the ball game. We saw Barnes yesterday. He gave up the hit to Pilar to score a run in the 6th inning. Scored Russell Martin from second base. He leads all Sox relievers in appearances. This is his 62nd of the season and innings pitched. Hard throwing right-hander.
Devin Travis, he's 2 for 3. Both those hits coming off of David Price and the home run in the 5th, the only run of this ball game. Devin Travis in his 2nd season with the Blue Jays, but he has just played 162 games in total. And Pat, if you took those numbers and spread them across a full season, I think you'd be very pleased with those numbers he puts up.
For a second baseman, for sure I would take it. A 301 average, 18 home runs. He's produced 84 RBIs and a 342 on base percentage. For sure you would take that for any second baseman.
It's a high fly ball to center. Jackie Bradley Jr. cruises back to the edge of the warning track and makes the catch. So Barnes comes in to close out the Blue Jays in the top of the 7th. There in Sanchez. He's handcuffed the Red Sox all afternoon. Boston still looking for their first hit of the game. Aaron Sanchez has been lined up for this start for quite a while, and he's made the most of it.
When the stage and the game becomes bigger, seems like Aaron Sanchez is ready for his job. He has come in, he is firing strikes, his fastball, he's been hitting his spots with his fastball, his changeup's been good, his curveball has been good. This is the best hitting team in the American League, the Boston Red Sox, and he's handling them through 6 innings. 6 strikeouts for Sanchez, a couple of walks. He's also hit a batter, but he hasn't given up a safety yet, as they call it. He's going to have to deal with Betts, Ortiz, and Ramirez here in the 7th inning, but right now he is firing on all cylinders. Do you let him go as far as he can today? Take the pitch counts out of it?
You got to win this game. You see Saunders in left field after coming in the game as a pinch hitter, but you got to win this game. If you're the Blue Jays, they win the game, and Baltimore wins the game, you end up playing the wild card game on Tuesday at Rogers Center. Now, everybody knows how overworked the bullpen has been recently and how they need a break, and this is the guy that can give you the break. He's thrown 80 pitches through 6 innings. It's a cool day here. This is a perfect day for a pitcher to win.
That's what I thought. Perfect. So you just push him as far as you can, and you ride him for as long as you can today, because you have to win the game.
You have to win the game. He's in great shape. He has not thrown one pitch today that suggests he's trying to overthrow or trying to generate velocity. He's had a terrific delivery all afternoon, and he has not allowed a hit to the best hitting team in the American League. So here is Mookie Betts to start things on. Sanchez throws the first pitch strike, and that's been a theme all afternoon from Aaron.
And the Red Sox have been very happy to go ahead and just take it and fall behind 0-1.
Curveball missed away. Sanchez and Martin, they've been really wearing out that down and away strike to right-handed hitters. I mean, they have hit it all day. Right there, that time they missed. 1-0 Blue Jays. Baltimore is winning 5-1 in the 8th inning in New York. Detroit trails Atlanta 1-0 in the 7th. Pulled foul.
Boy, he's quick inside. He can really create some backspin with his swing. His hands are so quick. Try and throw a fastball by him on the inner half. He can pull the ball down the left field line.
Betts is just 23. He'll turn 24 on the 7th of October. We got to that outside pitch. Mookie Betts is a very accomplished bowler. He's actually bowled in professional tournaments, and he has bowled several 300 games.
I think six 300 games.
It's an odd combination, baseball player and bowler. That's a full count.
I think that goes with the hand-eye coordination that we were talking about in his first at-bat, that he's got such great hand-eye coordination. And he can drop that ball wherever he needs to.
Don't have to tell you who's on deck. Line to Tulowitzki. Boy, there's one of those backspin line drives. That ball was rising as Tulowitzki caught it at short. Ortiz homered in the 7th inning of Friday night's game, part of a 4-run 7th inning. He had a 2-run home run to right. Everybody's standing. This could be his final regular season at bat of his career. He goes after the first pitch. Ortiz has struck out both times this afternoon against Sanchez.
So he didn't want to get to 2 strikes. He was swinging right away. You know what he's looking to do. Something on the inner half that he can pull.
The ball is in the air. Pilar with a long run. He'll get there and make the catch. Ortiz hit it toward the end of the bat. He flies out to center.
That just shows you the type of fastball that Aaron Sanchez has. His fastball has got great movement to it. David Ortiz is right on the plate. there's no room for error if you're the pitcher in a one-run game. But if you can throw your fastball and get that great sink to it, he's not going to square it up. Watch where this pitch dives away, and Ortiz, he just can't get to it. Some weak contact into the outfield.
Everybody knows what's going on. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. Hanley Ramirez is 0 for 2 with a strikeout.
Boy, he has been hitting his spots. One more time. Look at how he is on the plate. There's just no place to pitch to him. But the tremendous movement that you get with that fastball, it takes it off the barrel and hits it off the end of the bat.
Breaking ball, high and deep to left, and fair. Donaldson saying it's foul. Quinn Wolcott said it's fair, and Gibbons is already out of the dugout. Donaldson was looking down the line, and he waved it foul. Quinn Wolcott, the umpire, called it fair, and Hanley Ramirez has tied it up. A breaking ball. It stayed over the middle of the plate for Ramirez, his 30th home run.
He hit what was a big home run for him against the Yankees that propelled them off to that 11-game win streak. He has not had a hit until this at-bat in this series. The Blue Jays have pitched him tough until this at-bat. We're going to take a look at this one. Fastball away for strike one, then breaking ball that stayed over the middle of the plate.
With that home run, Hanley Ramirez joins David Ortiz and Mookie Betts, 30 home runs and 100+ RBIs. Boy, that breaking ball just stayed up and out over the plate. Very difficult to see the baseball from that angle. But Donaldson immediately came up and waved it foul. The crowd reacting. Again, very difficult to pick up the baseball.
Well, if that's over the foul pole, I think it went just over. The foul pole wasn't high enough. There's the curveball on the inner half. He's asking that ball to go foul. And you can tell by the reaction of the fans, it's been called a home run.
This replay review is powered by Samsung. They had a review, they looked at it, they confirmed the call on the field as a home run. That's the first hit for Boston.
Now, if you're Aaron Sanchez, you saw the reaction he had thinking that ball was foul. Get back into the moment. This is where you don't want to come unglued because of a home run, the first hit of the ball game.
It's a tie game. It's 1-1. Both runs coming on home runs. Bogarts, a base hit to left.
Russell Martin's going to go out and talk to his young starter. You got to get back into the moment.
Third base umpire Quinn Wolcott called the call, and he and the crew chief Brian Gorman, after conferencing with New York, and you can see the disappointment from Sanchez. But you're right, he's got to get his heart rate under control and just focus on the batter, Jackie Bradley Jr. As you see Brett Cecil starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays.
It can come all unraveled so quickly with one pitch, one swing of the bat. Seen it a million times, especially in this ballpark. This is where you want to slow things down.
Aaron gets ahead of Bradley with a fastball. Sanchez no hit to Red Sox, 6 2/3. And then Hanley Ramirez connected on a breaking ball for his 30th home run to tie the game at 1. What a beautiful effort by Sanchez taking a no-hitter into the 7th here at Fenway Park.
Yeah, against the Red Sox in this ballpark, dominant
in this scenario.
The pressure, Blue Jays have to win. Hanley Ramirez is an outstanding hitter. Reminiscent of the Fisk home run.
He might have thought it was foul. He held on to that bat a long time. The Orioles have a 5-2 lead, top of the 9th in New York. There goes Bogarts. Ball is hit in the air. Shallow right field. Pereira coming in. He calls for it and makes the catch. The inning is over. But Aaron Sanchez took a no-hitter into the 7th. Gives up a 2-out home run to Hanley Ramirez, and we're tied as we head to the 8th. Yes, and here comes the manager, and that's the last thing Aaron wants to hear from John Gibbons is nice job. Aaron wanted to stay in this game. I can guarantee you that. It's a 1-1 game. He'll end up with a no decision. Just 2 hits allowed.
One bad pitch, and the Red Sox are able to capitalize on it. It's a tie score. This is Brad Ziegler. Ziegler came in and won the game here the other day. That was on Friday night through a scoreless 7th inning, a hit and a walk. This is the 4th time that he has pitched against the Blue Jays this season. He does not have an earned run given up to the Blue Jays.
Quite a transition going from Ross Barnes now to Ziegler, who is a sidearmer with a sinking fastball and a sweeping breaking ball. Josh Donaldson walked his first time up. He has lined down and flied out. 0-for-2. Be a nice time for his 100th RBI.
With one swing of the bat. I was thinking the exact same thing.
That's down the right side and foul.
You know what you don't want to do as a right-handed hitter here at Fenway Park is think about home runs here. That's when your swing really gets out of whack. You want to think about covering the outside part of the plate because naturally the pitchers are going to want to keep the ball away from it. Think about the outside part of the plate and then react to the pitches on the inside.
That slider missed inside. Ziegler doesn't want to throw that pitch inside. Line drive, that's going to get down and go past Bradley up against the wall. Donaldson will stop at first. A ringing long single off the Green Monster. Good start for the Blue Jays here in the 8th.
Normally that's a double into the gap, but because it's so shallow in left field, this is a line drive. It's so hard by Donaldson, and it's played perfectly by Jackie Bradley in center field. Sees where that ball is going to bounce off the wall, positions himself perfectly, and holds him to a single.
Leadoff man's aboard in this 1-1 game. The Blue Jays have now recorded 7 hits to just 2 for Boston. Edwin Encarnacion. Edwin is 0 for 2 with a walk. He was 1 for 3 last night and 0 for 5 in the opener.
He came into this ball game tied with David Ortiz for the league lead for RBIs in the American League.
Both have 127. Encarnacion's had a terrific season. His best season overall. 42 home runs, 127 RBIs.
He's played a lot of first base this year.
And he's played it well. Today he's making his 74th start at first base, which has really served him well in this his free agent year. Certainly playing first base opens up another 15 teams for him.
Say, hey, he can play, and he plays it well, like you said. Got to make Ziegler get the ball up.
Breaking ball outside. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. We're in the 8th inning. Another terrific game here at Fenway Park. Marlo Hale, Pete Walker, John Gibbons all talking over their options here. Full count. Encarnacion walked in the 4th against Price. Bautista waits on deck.
Lots of talking going on between the coaches and the base runner, Josh Donaldson. Edwin is already grounded into 1 double play today. Maybe you start that runner to stay out of the double play.
Not running. Ball 4. Well, the first 2 reached once again. That was the same scenario for the Blue Jays in the 4th, but they never moved them up. In the 4th inning, they had a walk and a single. Encarnacion and Bautista. And then Martin, Tulowitzki, and Upton all went down in order. So now the first 2 reach here in the 8th.
And here comes Carl Willis, the pitching coach for the Boston Red Sox, to talk over some strategy with Jose Bautista. Last time up, Jose dropped down a bunt. So they might be discussing what they want to do, how they want to pitch to him, and what type of defense do they want to play against Jose.
You see Willis now talking directly to Brad Ziegler about this situation. Bautista is 1 for 7 against the sidearm. But you're right, he took a message out to the infielders as well about the possibility of Bautista bunting. Hard to have him bunt in this situation.
In this ballpark?
Absolutely. Really difficult. I don't think that would be something that the Blue Jays would consider. This guy's had a lot of success.
I think he did that on his own that time where he tried to drop the bunt down.
Bouncing ball, fair ball. Rockhold steps on the bag, fires to first. Double play, 2 away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, while that has happened, the Orioles and Yankees have gone final in New York. Baltimore winning 5-2. So they have clinched their wild card spot.
Now it's up to the Blue Jays. They win. The game's at Rogers Center on Tuesday.
Breaking ball for strike one. Encarnacion is at second base. Holt stepped on third to force Donaldson and then fired across the diamond to complete the double play. Brock Holt's had an impactful run against the Blue Jays. Martin hits it on the ground. It's going to be a tough play for Holt, and he has no play. Russell Martin with a swinging bunt up the third baseline. Encarnacion moves to third. How about this inning? The Blue Jays have had a ringing single off the wall, a walk, a double play, now a bunt, basically a swinging bunt. Holt was deep at third, and he made a wise choice here.
Yeah, 5-3 double play too, where the third baseman Ted steps on the bag and throws across the infield. Now a swinging bunt. And now you get Tulowitzki at the plate. Tulo has hit the ball hard a couple of times this afternoon.
He had a double high off the green monster in left center his first time up, and then he lined out to Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field his last time up. Tulowitzki has faced Ziegler in the past. He's 2 for 7. Ziegler pitched for Arizona internationally. Inside off the plate. 2-0. Encarnacion at third base. Martin at first base. Blue Jays have had 2 hits in this inning and a walk. But Bautista bounced into a double play. So there are 2 outs. Tulowitzki hits it over Pedroia into center field. Here comes Encarnacion. Martin is headed for third, and Troy Tulowitzki has given the Blue Jays the lead here in the 8th.
Oh, the Blue Jays have been needing clutch hits. Tulo's been swinging a hot bat. You mentioned the double. He also smoked the ball to center field in his last at bat. Couldn't get it over the head of Jackie Bradley Jr., so he says, you know what, I'm going to dump one in front of him. What a piece of hitting right there against a tough right-hander. That's the first runs the Blue Jays have been able to score against Brad Ziegler this season.
How about this? This is the base hit by Tulowitzki just over Pedroia's glove into center field. Encarnacion comes in to score. Tulowitzki with another big hit has given the Blue Jays the lead. You can see him celebrating before he got the first. Fired up with another big RBI. Drew Pomerantz, the starter, into the game to face Saunders.
today, roaming the U.S. on a Share Everything plan, and you can use your phone just like you do at home in over 100 destinations around the world. Go to bluejays.com/roamlikehome for more details. All these fans taking advantage of the Roam Like Home, telling them they're at David Ortiz's final game, and possibly, guys, the game that clinches a Blue Jays a wild card spot.
Drew Pomeranz into the game, and he has been a starter. You can see he's made 30 starts. He had plenty of time to warm up, obviously. Boston, very important game for them as well. Cleveland beat Kansas City today, so that gives Cleveland 94 wins. Boston has 93 wins as we speak. So the game tomorrow would be Cleveland's extra game. They'd have to play that. Well, they wouldn't have to play that now if Boston loses.
And if Detroit loses and the Blue Jays win, then the game doesn't mean anything.
Yep.
So now that we have that sorted out, Michael Saunders gets to face Drew Pomeranz. Drew Pomeranz, Red Sox really wanted him. They gave up one of their best prospects, Anderson Espinosa, to San Diego to acquire him.
Saunders takes one low for a ball. Martin's at third. Tulowitzki's at first. 2 outs. A run in here in the 8th. Aaron Sanchez is the pitcher of record. He completed the 7th inning. So he is in line for the win if the Blue Jays can hang on to this lead. Well, straight off the mask of Leon.
Michael Saunders has had a big season hitting lefty pitching. Big improvement over the final year. He's hit .280 versus left-handed pitching this season with 8 home runs. He was looking for his big curveball. That's his best pitch, Pomeranz. It's a knuckle curve. He can really spin it. Michael was looking for it right there, and he crossed him up with the fastball.
One and two. Another fastball. Pomeranz is the 5th pitcher to work for the Red Sox. He strikes out Saunders to end the inning, but the Blue Jays take the lead on Troy Tulowitzki's RBI single. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. 97 pitches. He didn't give up a hit until 2 outs in the 7th. That was a home run to Hanley Ramirez. 2 hits overall, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 97 pitches. And he is in line for the win as the Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead.
And he drops that earned run average to an even 3 this season. So great outing for Sanchez. He's going to give way to the new pitcher. Brett Cecil comes on. Cecil was victimized by that David Ortiz home run on Friday night. And he will get the bottom of the order, and he will get a pinch hitter.
Brett Cecil's 54th appearance of the season. ERA just under 4. He's thrown the ball very well of late. Most of those numbers inflated early in the season. This is Chris Young. Young is batting in the catcher spot.
That was the pitch that has really taken him to the next level. He's spinning that hard curveball again, getting his share of strikeouts.
Unusual times call for unusual measures, and the Blue Jays have Francisco Liriano down in their bullpen along with Joe Biagini. The Orioles have 1. With a base hit into right. Chris Young with a little flare into right field.
Well, that's what he does. He hits left-handed pitching. John Farrell sends him up there, and he stays back on that curveball. That was not a good curveball from Brett Cecil. That one just spun up there and stayed over the middle of the plate. Spike curve, it's up. It's not hit hard, but it's up, making it a little bit easier for Young to get to it.
Andrew Benintendi, the left fielder, squares to bunt and bunts it into the air, foul. Benintendi has flied out and walked in his 2 plate appearances.
He gave away after that throw to first base that he was bunting. So if you're Josh Donaldson, cheat. Come charging as soon as Brett Cecil picks up his leg. Maybe you can get that lead runner.
Squares again to bunt and pops this one foul, and it drops before Encarnacion could get there. Oh, 0-2 to Benintendi. And you know what? When you're a big power hitter in the minor leagues, they don't ask you to bunt very often, and I doubt that he has been asked to sacrifice too often in his young professional career. So Cecil's ahead 0-2.
That ball was a curveball, and they wanted it down in a way. It looked like it slipped right out of his hand. Benintendi's never seen Cecil before. Throw him a good one.
Coming right back with it. What a jump by Young. He got a running start, and Benintendi is called out on the curveball, but Cecil so focused on throwing a good breaking pitch allowed Young to steal it, and he had a running start.
That's why Russell Martin doesn't do anything. He wants to hold that ball there to get the strikeout. They do on the hard curveball. And after the strikeout, here comes Joe Biagini.
So Cecil strikes out Benintendi after the leadoff single. Now Dustin Pedroia will be the batter. Joe Biagini into the ball game. The Red Sox have the tying run in scoring position. game here at Fenway Park. Joe Biagini making his 60th appearance of the season. This is rookie season. Biagini was the losing pitcher on Friday night in that 5-3 Red Sox win. So Tulowitzki with the last bit of instruction to Biagini. Chris Young is at second base. He represents the tying run here in the bottom of the 8th. Dustin Pedroia. He's gone 0 for 3 this afternoon. 0 for his last 7 after a 3-hit game in the opener on Friday night. Biagini taking over for Cecil. First pitch strike. Joe's done a very good job at stranding inherited base runners. He allowed just 5 of 25 to score.
And they have brought him in big situations, and as the season goes along, he's been pitching in bigger situations. None bigger than this one.
Pedroia taps it foul. Biagini has really developed his secondary pitches throughout the course of the season. He's improved his changeup. His cutter has gotten very good. His command has improved over the course of the season. He's thrown 67 innings. He went 49 straight games before he allowed a home run.
For a young player, he doesn't seem to get rattled in these big situations either.
The Tigers have gone final. They have lost to Atlanta 1-0. So the Blue Jays will be in the wild card game. Now it's just a matter of where it will be played. They will play the Orioles in the wild card game, and that's satisfying, I'm sure. You can see a little bit of a wry smile on Mark Shapiro's face as he has just noticed the game, I'm sure, in Atlanta has gone final.
That keeps them at 86 wins. The Blue Jays have 88. So now if the Blue Jays can hold on here, win this game, they will host on Tuesday.
Pedroia covers that outside pitch and fouls it on.
Boy, this guy's a tough out. He is a tough out. You are going to have to make a pitch to get this guy out. He can cover the outside part of the plate. He can cover the inside, up, down. Russell Martin is thinking right along with him.
2-2 pitch. Curveball, he got a piece of it. Pedroia, for his career, was a 300 hitter. And he continues to battle. This is just the second season in his major league career that he's amassed 200 hits.
Last time he did it was 2008. He was the league MVP in 2008.
What a battle. Dustin Pedroia, Rookie of the Year in his first season, MVP in his second season. This is his 11th year with the Red Sox.
And I like that Russell's gone out to talk to Biagini. When you play a team 19 times, there's no secrets. Everybody's stealing signs from everybody. So now with 2 strikes, a couple of tough pitches from Biagini fouled off, Russell Martin goes out there. They're either changing the signs or he's verbally telling Joe what he wants to see right here. No sign.
2-2 pitch to Pedroia. Down the left side, it's going to hook into the seats, out of play.
It looked like it might have been a changeup. And Pedroia was way out in front.
You make a great point about the sign stealing, and it's all within the parameters of the game. Guys at second base get there, they pick up a set of signs, they'll give you a location, they can relay it to a hitter. And now with so much video in the game, it takes you 5 minutes to figure out a set of signs. Catchers just have to constantly switch things out.
And go out there and tell his pitcher what they want to use.
Pedroia hits it on the ground toward third. That's a fair ball. Donaldson throws. What a play. Oh, my. Josh Donaldson got to the ball. His momentum carried him into foul territory. He threw across his body and threw a strike to Encarnacion to retire Pedroia.
What an unbelievable play by Donaldson. He has that knack of coming up with great plays. Playing deep with 2 strikes. Loves it. His momentum going away from first base. He knows he has to be quick. He knows he has to be accurate, just ahead of Pedroia. What a play by Donaldson.
Outstanding play. And he threw a strike in time to get Pedroia. 2 down. Young still at second. Don't you think Young could have moved up to third on that play once Donaldson made the play? Just bounce, bounce, bounce with him, and then he could get over to third once he threw that throw?
That's a reactionary play. You have to think about it before it happens. You bounce off. Josh didn't have time to catch the ball and look the runner back, so you get as much as you can, and as soon as he sees him wind up the throw to first base, you can walk to third. Josh Donaldson's going to sell out. He has to. He knows that's going to be a fair ball. He's got to sell out, do everything he can to get that runner at first base. Well, Young, you're right. Could have moved up.
Rock Holt fouls it back. Biagini's ahead 1-2. Nestor Pedroia is still upset.
I want him on my team.
What a battle he put up. Donaldson made a terrific play to throw him out at first. 2 great ball clubs going head to head here. Final day of the season. What a job by Biagini. Joe inherits a runner at second. Gets out of it. Nice play by Donaldson. 2-1 lead here in Boston. The Blue Jays are in the wild card. They will play the Orioles, and this is a live shot inside the Blue Jays clubhouse. They're preparing for a post-game celebration. Obviously, the players are aware now of the situation. They are in the wild card. Now it's only to be determined where that game will be played. The Blue Jays win, it'll be played at Rogers Center on Tuesday. Drew Pomerantz came into the ballgame and struck out Michael Saunders to end the top of the 8th. The Cleveland Indians beat Kansas City today. They have 94 wins. So if the Red Sox lose this game, the division series will start Thursday in Cleveland. Boston playing Cleveland. The wild card winner will play the Texas Rangers.
And wouldn't that be fun? The Blue Jays are in the wild card, and if they can win that game, the wild card game, take on the Texas Rangers. You don't think there might be some payback in that series?
Well, it sounds as though that game, Cleveland and Detroit, is not going to take place. There's no reason for that game to play. If Boston loses, the Indians have home field advantage. That also has significance as far as the American League ERA title.
That's right.
Michael Fulmer was scheduled to pitch that game on Monday. He is 3 innings shy of qualifying for the ERA title. Aaron Sanchez lowering his ERA today to 3.00 would be the ERA champ. Aaron is in line for the win. That would give him 15 wins against 2 losses.
15-2. I think that might be a team record also for winning percentage, best winning percentage.
Pilar is called out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Thank you very much, Jamie. Everything is becoming clear now, as the picture was very cloudy at the start of play as to who was going to play in the wild card games. Rare bunts it. Pomerantz can't field it. Ezequiel Carrera has been terrific in his ability to bunt. Dustin Pedroia, the second baseman, was anticipating the bunt. He was charging. He was right behind Pomerantz, and he was there ready to make the play.
Get that pitcher involved. Make him get off the mound and make the play. Pomerantz can't backhand that ball. Carrera,
it's an error on the pitcher,
is at first base. He would have been better off if he let that ball go.
Devin Travis. Well, the Blue Jays got to the postseason last year, and they are prepared to celebrate a second consecutive trip to the postseason. The champagne is on ice in the Blue Jays locker room. Travis drives this one into right. Mookie Betts, the right fielder, is there. He makes the catch.
It'll taste sweeter if they can hold on and win this game. What a series it has been.
The Blue Jays hold the season advantage over the Orioles, 10-9. And because of that, if they win, the Blue Jays win, they will host the Orioles on Tuesday. American League wild card game. Josh Donaldson
about a double right here for an extra run, making that job by that man right there a little bit easier. Osuna up and ready to go. John Gibbons was saying before the ball game that if they need him for an inning, he's available. Josh is sitting on 99 RBIs.
99.
A double to right center field. I want to see it.
Trying to become just the second Blue Jay hitter to drive in 100 in their first 2 seasons as a Blue Jay. Joe Carter did it when he came to the Blue Jays from San Diego. Carter had 4 consecutive 100 RBI seasons. 2 balls and no strikes, 2 outs. Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead. Aaron Sanchez, allowing just 1 run over 7 innings, has now allowed 1 earned run or less in 15 starts this season. Today was his 30th start of the year.
7 months ago, we weren't even sure if he was going to be in the starting rotation.
Two and two to Donaldson. This has been quite a roller coaster ride emotionally for the Blue Jays since the start of September. Mike Shapiro, president of baseball operations for the Blue Jays. Two balls, 2 strikes. Corey Tulowitzki with the big base hit in the top of the 8th to give the Blue Jays the lead. Donaldson drills it to center field. Bradley is there and he makes the running catch. Donaldson lines out to the center fielder. So we'll go to the bottom of the 9th. The Blue Jays with a 2-1 lead. Betts, Ortiz, and Ramirez to face Ortiz. Power against power when we come back. Club as they have had a real roller coaster ride. 11-16 in September. They saw their lead in the AL East evaporate. but now they are 3 outs away from hosting a wild card game at Rogers Center against Baltimore on Tuesday.
Came into the month of September leading the division. You mentioned the record that they had in September. It's been an unbelievable week if you've been a Blue Jay fan. The roller coaster ride, 3 tough losses on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Some big wins, including yesterday's win. And now Roberto Osuna trying to get a big save here to win this series and get them back to Toronto for Tuesday's wild card game. Osuna's 35 for 41 and save opportunities this year. Right-handers have hit 172, 240 for the left-handers, and he's got to face the best the Boston Red Sox have to offer.
That is Joaquin Benoit, who is on crutches, prepared to join in the celebration here inside the locker room. As the champagne is on ice, Jeff Ross, the equipment man, Kevin Malloy, getting everything ready.
You know, you couldn't ask for more drama than here in the bottom of the ninth. A 1-run game, Betts. And guess who is on deck?
Big Papi. Mookie Betts takes the first pitch for a ball. It back. Roberto Osuna certainly has had some tough outings lately, but when you look at his career, he has 55 career saves. He's among the franchise leaders in save percentage through his first 55 saves. And Billy Koch, 87%. B.J. Ryan. He's ahead here, 1-2.
Just his second year in the big leagues. Young, but he's talented.
Breaking ball in good. I'm telling you what, if baseball doesn't mimic life, I don't know what it does. But Big Papi, David Ortiz, final game, and here he is standing on deck in a 1-run game in the 9th inning.
And nobody's left the house. Everybody's waiting to see how this one's going to finish off.
Ground ball, Tulowitzki, it's short. In time, 1 away.
He's unbelievable.
This very well could be the final at bat for David Ortiz in a regular season game at Fenway Park. He has some words for Russell Martin. Interesting. Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead. Jays, of course, playing in the dramatic shift. Carrera deep in right.
There's the shift. Everybody deep in the outfield, too. This looks like it's going to be power versus power. Osuna's best and Ortiz's best.
Oh, and 2. Blue Jays playing for the home field in the wild card. They win it, they'll host the Orioles. Tapper out in front of home. Martin will throw to first, 2 away. Little squibber off the end of the bat. Not exactly the kind of final at bat he is hoping for. A special weekend for David Ortiz and his family.
He'll have some more in the playoffs. That's not the end. Russell Martin did a good job of slowing everything down, knowing who the runner was. You're not out of the woods yet. Here comes another 30 home run hitter for the Boston Red Sox.
First time in franchise history they've had 3 players hit 30 or more home runs and drive in 100 or more. Ortiz, Betts, and Ramirez. His home run came in the 7th. That was the first hit surrendered by Aaron Sanchez. He had a no-hitter into the 7th. Jose Bautista got some big hits for the Blue Jays down the stretch. Joe Biagini, some big outs. Donaldson, a terrific defensive play here this afternoon. Popped back out of play.
Stay out there. Stay out there.
Jay Happ, Marcus Stroman, part of the best starting rotation in the American League. A unique distinction, leading the league in innings pitched as starters without throwing a complete game. First time it's ever happened in Major League history. One count on Ramirez. He went after it. Tried to check on that slider and put. Laid off that breaking ball.
He really wanted to strike out there. He's trying to guide that ball to the outside corner.
Given what he's been through lately, I think he'll be satisfied to get any kind of out right now.
Yeah, anything. Fastball away, you're going to try and kick the ball into the big part of the ballpark. Ramirez's home run was on a hanging breaking ball.
Another breaking ball, and Ramirez wouldn't chase. 3-2, 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 9th. Osuna trying to close it out. Ramirez draws a 2-out walk.
He's trying to stay away from his power. He ended up walking him. He was behind. Ramirez was 1-2 and then fought for a walk. Thought they might pinch run for him here.
I want to remind you the Blue Jays are playing for the home field advantage in the wild card game that'll take place Tuesday. If they win, they'll play at Rogers Center against the Orioles. Ramirez at first, 2 outs, Sander Bogarts. Osuna pitched 2 innings in last night's game. Another ball, they're not chasing that breaking ball.
Patience by the Red Sox hitters. Roberto, 21 years old, mature beyond his years. Just slowing things down to his pace. Take a deep breath and make a pitch.
There's a strike with the fastball. 96. There's been a lot made about Osuna shaking off Russell Martin, but a lot of that could be Martin just trying to confuse the hitter.
Yeah, one's a fastball, two's a curve. If you shake to a fastball.
Line drive into center. Pilar playing on a hop. Ramirez moves to second. Bogart's second hit of the ball game.
And just the second in his career off of Roberto Osuna. They fell behind 2-1. He had to come in there with a fastball. And Bogarts is a great hitter.
Well, the infield has come to the mound after this base hit by Bogarts. You see, he stays on that pitch away and rips it into center. All the infielders converging around the mound to offer encouragement to Osuna. And Encarnacion is the last one to leave.
Outfield was deep. Now they've come in a few steps with that tying run at second base.
Jackie Bradley Jr. 0 for 2 was hit by a pitch from Sanchez in the 5th. First pitch strike. There are never easy games for the managers. Ground ball. Donaldson has it. Takes his time. And the Blue Jays will host the wild card game on Tuesday. What a ball game. They win it 2-1. Devin Travis and Troy Tulowitzki with the RBIs. And they know exactly what they've accomplished now. They will be the home team Tuesday when they play the Orioles in the American League wild card game.
This series had a little bit of everything. Great pitching, great defense. We saw some clutch hitting. Blue Jays come up with some big hits. Great outing today by Sanchez. They lost the first game by 2 runs when they gave up 4 runs late. A nail biter in last night's game, 4-3, and then a close one here, 2-1. What a ball game. What a series by the Blue Jays.
Mark Spira, in his first full season at the helm of the Blue Jays, knows his team's going to play the Orioles in the wild card. Congratulations to all the players, the coaches, the manager. A tough season, and now they have earned the right to play in the wild card game. Edwin Encarnacion, with his career year, set a new high in RBIs, tied his career high in home runs. Aaron Sanchez wins his 15th game, and he was outstanding this afternoon.
You could tell it. You could tell it from the time he took the mound that he had his game face on, and he was putting that fastball where he needed to. Remember who he was pitching against. The best offensive team in the American League in their home ballpark, and he was up to the task. Here he is right there, happy to get that win. Looks like he's going to win the ERA title in the American League. Congratulations to the Blue Jays. Do you know how hard it is to come into Boston and win a series? The pressure